أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. All praise is due to Allah. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon His Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. We continue inshallah with our important series of the explanation of the book of Hilyat Talib al-Ilm for Dr. Sheikh Abu Bakr Abi Zaid rahimahullah. May Allah have mercy on his soul. And we are in the section 5, fifth section of the book. The book has 7 sections. The 5th section of the book, which is آداب الطالب في حياته العلمية, the etiquettes relating to the student of seeking knowledge in his or her academic life, like what seeking the knowledge. So we established that seeking the knowledge has etiquettes between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, within yourself, etiquettes with your sheikh, etiquettes with your peers or classmates. We studied that. And we are now with the etiquettes in your professional academic life while you are seeking the knowledge. And now you are seeking knowledge. This lecture, going for the sheikh, looking for what is beneficial for you, the book that you are studying, that is the Haya al-Ilmi. Haya al-Ilmi means every one of us has social life. So you with your spouse, that is not your academic life. You with your children, that's not academic life. With your parents, visiting people, going to a walima, doing this, doing that, coming to the masjid and praying, that is your worship life. This is your spiritual life, okay? This is your social life, those who have rights upon you, or you have duties toward them, okay? So that's not what we're talking about. This section here is talking about you while studying. Is that clear? So we have to have these kind of clarifications. So this section number 5, every one of them is to help you and support you while you are studying, gaining knowledge. As simple as going to the shelf and picking a book and reading, or going signing up for a course or for a class or attending a lecture, whether it is a random lecture or a specific lecture, attending a series, so on. So number 25 is النهمة في الطلب. نهم or nahma, the word nahma, it depends on how you associate it with. When somebody have good appetite for food, that is nahma for food. Nahma for food, like they like to eat this dish. So somebody, you put the food in front of them and they are like, even they are hungry, they are like kind of eating it slow. But if you put in front of them some food that they like, how they eat it? They eat it with nahm. Also a person have, you see the kids, for example, I'm giving you a few examples here. The kids playing on their phones. They are not doing it the same way that they are doing homework. You agree or not? So if they're gonna do their homework on the computer and they didn't play a game in the computer, which one did they have nahma for? Game, right? And they want more, and they want more, and you'll find their entire being is like focused on it. That's called what? Nahma. Now, imagine a student having that nahma in studying. There's the difference between someone taking it as a duty. I have to take it to pass the exam and get the certificate, and I have homework to do, or someone sitting on a book for 3 and 4 and 5 hours until they finish it. That's called the nahma. The kids, they have a book, 200 pages of social studies or something like that. They studied in a whole year, but they will read a Harry Potter book, 400 pages in 2 days. Am I right? Now I understand what nahma means, okay? So he's saying that you cannot be a true seeker of knowledge without that nahma in reading and studying. You're not going to go far enough. You're not going to go anywhere. That's why many of my sheikhs, for example, told me that you have to have a daily time that you read something new you don't know. So the result, what you see in front of you is the result of continuous seeking knowledge, and you have to be eager to do that. You cannot waste that. And the only way that you will maintain this is when you love it. You know, if I feel that it's a duty upon me as a sheikh to read 2 hours a day, I'm not going to read 2 hours a day. Why? Because there will always come emergencies, will always come something important. I'll sacrifice that part. But when I love it, I'm eager to learn something new tonight, that means I'm going to do it. If not 2 hours, it will be half hour, but I will do it. You are with me? So the only thing is النهمة في الطلب. Now, he is saying that there is something attributed to Sayyidina Ali ibn Abi Talib that encourages you, to make you understand your value when you read. إذا علمت الكلمة المنسوبة إلى الخليفة الراشد علي بن أبي طالب رضي الله عنه, if you know the word or the statement attributed to Ali ibn Abi Talib رضي الله عنه, قيمة كل امرئ ما يحسنه. The value of every person is what they are good at. Your value is what you are good at. So if I ask anyone, some people think that they have big value, but they have no value. They think they have value, but where your value comes from? Does your value come because you are what? What? You are a human being, I'm also a human being. So what is the value that you add to our relationship? What is that value? Sayyidina Ali said, the value is what you are good at. So if somebody is always creating trouble to people, that's their value. You see? So what is your value in the community? What is your value to this class? Oh, now it is going to give us a new perspective on life. So wherever you are, ask yourself, what am I good at? Because this is my value now. What am I good at with my family? Because this is my value for my family. What am I good at in this community? Because this is my value in this community. What am I good at for Houston? This is my value for Houston. Otherwise, you are nobody. So the value is what you are good at. Can we memorize that? The value of everyone is what they are good at. قيمة المرء ما يحسنه. Someone is very good in yeah. Good. That's a value, but that's not your value, right? But that's a value you add. That's a value you add, because you're going to ask yourself, I'm going to ask myself, that family member, if they are absent, what am I missing? Right? Like my mom is a value by itself. This is a value, right? That's a value. Like she is a great mom. That's what she is very good at. Okay? Now I need that so much. If I miss that, means that huge value is out. That's why Rasulullah said, your mom, your mom, your mom. You understand? But some people don't have that value just like that. So this is a value, being a mom, and she gives lots of things in there. That's why you don't feel it unless you miss it, right? So, but what is your value is what you are good at. So now you are a student of knowledge. What is your value as a student of knowledge? What you're good at? Are you good at like what, Quran or fiqh or hadith or what? Or you just, your value is like you sit there and listen. That's not a value. I'm sorry, and it's a little bit hard, but that's what it is, right? Why all of this? Because I want to encourage you from today that you have to you cannot waste one single day without knowing something that you don't know. Start today. Anything. If you find that a day finished without you achieving some knowledge, I'm sure any one of us have some books at home. Some books in any subject. Open a random book, a random page, and read it. This is new information you did not know. Find something that you don't know and add it before you go to sleep. And develop that habit. So he says, فاحذر غلط القائل ما ترك الأول للآخر وصوابه كم ترك الأول للآخر. He said some people says that the predecessors did not leave anything for the successors. Means everything is done. He said no. He said actually the predecessors left everything for us to learn. There is a lot that they left for us to learn from. Lot. So don't say, oh, they studied everything, nothing to be studied. Well, study what they left. You understand? So, he said, oh, everything is researched already. The people researched already. Okay, did you read what they researched? No. So don't like if say, okay, everybody already wrote about the seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Well, you don't have to write about the seerah, but go study it. Go study it. So we read all seerah of the Prophet. Seerah Ibn Hisham wrote in the seerah, Imam al-Bukhari wrote in the seerah, Imam al-Tabari wrote in the seerah, all people wrote in the seerah. So everybody repeat the same story. So does that mean nobody from 21st century should write about the seerah? Does that mean that? So people can write about the seerah, but if they repeat the same thing, yeah, you're right. What's the point? Okay? But if you read everything written, actually, you might come up with something new. And that's what many of the writers of the seerah of our time, they found that angle. How can we relate the seerah to our current time? You see? That's a new one. And this actually can continue to Yawm al-Qiyamah. And that's the whole point of the seerah, is to relate it to your life, not just to narrate the story. You understand? So never say that people before me already done everything, and I have no place. You have a place to start reading it. And that would serve in this developing this appetite. There is a lot for us to know, to read. Don't say, oh, they done everything. Well, read what they done. If they done it for someone to read it. And that someone is you and me. So read it. And for sure you're going to come up with something. Even as a mother, if just the reading comes with the fruit that you are going to raise your children with some more knowledge, that's worth it. It is worth it. Now, and whoever, and Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam also encouraged us, he said, whoever Allah intends good for, he will make them understand the deen. Man yuridillahu bihi khayran yufaqqihhu fi ad-din. And if Allah wants good for you, Allah will make you understand the deen. So if you read more, you'll understand more, and you will become under this hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You want goodness from Allah or not? We'll start reading today, inshallah. We'll start reading today. Can we do this, inshallah, in our deen? So if we get with that today, that would be a lot. If we start establishing that habit, start with 15-20 minutes of reading in Islamic knowledge, and take it to 30 minutes, take it to 1 hour, and stay with that. Stay within the time that you can afford on a daily basis. I mean daily, there is no off day. And you can vary your reading. One day tafsir, one day hadith, one day fiqh, one day this, one day that, one day. And every day start with 5-10 minutes Quran. Read 1 page, 2 pages, and go on with other things. You will see the result in few months. I'm not going to say in few weeks. You will see the result in few months. Some doctors tell you take this medicine, and the results, listen to this, the results will start in 2 weeks. Say, I will feel it, said no, people around you will. Because you don't see that this medication is doing anything, but actually it changes you to the point that people around you, they see different behavior. You are not noticing. And that's what I mean. Okay, so the long-term effect, you will know, sure, every day you learn something new. But that feeling is not always good, by the way. That feeling is not always good. That feeling actually pushes many people to drop. The high, they get the high. Somebody like smoke or does something, they get high. And after that, it drops, like sugar, like, you get like, drink something, shot. It shoots straight, it makes you feel like so good. But then what? You crash. So that feeling of like, okay, reading 2-3 days, wow, I knew a lot. And you stay with that high, you stay 2-3 weeks, no reading. So you're gonna feel that effect. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a long-term effect. Stick with that, and in few months, you will see that you start impacting the life of the people around you, and they will tell you, wow, mashallah, every time I'm asking you a question, I have a new answer. You used to do this, but now you do that. Now you are on track. So it is not the personal feeling of gratification we are looking for. It is the impact that we do. All right? And of course, there are many ayat in the Quran about the fadl of ilm, of the people of knowledge, and many ahadith of that. How we become among people of knowledge? By reading more, by attaining more knowledge. So reading, and reading. نعم. فعليك بالاستكثار من ميراث النبي. So he's saying that you have to do as much as you can, take as much as you can from the mirath. You know, mirath is the bequest, means whatever a person leaves behind. The bequest, mirath. Mirath means the inheritance. Like when a person dies, they left real estate, they left money, they left this and that. That's called mirath. What is it called? Mirath. And the person takes the mirath, it's called warith. What is it called? Warith. Warith is the heir or the inheritor. Yani. Warith. So mirath is what the person leaves behind, and warith is the one who takes that or a share of it. Waratha, plural. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Al-ulama'u warathatu al-anbiya'i." So al-anbiya left something behind that the ulama take. So who are the warith of the ulama? Who are the warith of the anbiya? Ulama. What is the inheritance that was left? Knowledge. لأن الأنبياء لم يورثوا دينارا ولا درهما ولكن ورثوا العلم. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the prophets did not leave behind them gold or silver, they left knowledge. Because if any prophet leave gold or silver, their family do not take anything from it. It goes sadaqah. That's the ruling of all prophets. Okay, so what is the inheritance of the prophets? Knowledge. And all of us are waratha, if we go and take from it. Some people, they don't need that. You know, some people inherit, they say, you know what, I don't need that share. I'm rich already. So, subhanallah, if you do that with the mirath of Anbiya, what kind of person you are? Every one of us in need for knowledge. But the more you have, the more of knowledge you have. Al-ulama warathatul anbiya. Now, وابذل الوسع في الطلب والتحصيل والتدقيق ومهما بلغت في العلم فتذكر كم ترك الأول والآخر. So he says, always do your level best, save no effort in seeking knowledge and benefiting more. Never say that is enough. Oh, I'm done. I studied a course in fiqh. Oh, khalas, I don't need any more fiqh. Or I took the course in Quran. Oh, I'm done. Or I listened to the tafsir of the whole Quran from the Sheikh. Oh, it's enough. This means you are just a normal person who needed something. That's it. Right? But you need more. You need more than that. Your goal is actually more. We are talking about this appetite, huh? So you want more. So he says, save no effort. Do your level best in one, talab. Talab means seeking. Where is the course? Who is that? Having your book ready, standing there. Talab. You know, you go first to the store and you said, I want that product. Talab. That's why we say talab al-ilm means always wanting. When we say talab al-ilm, you are talib al-ilm, it means what? Seeker. Seeker of knowledge means you're seeking it. It's a continuous step. You have and you say, can I have more? Can I have more? I want more. What is more? Is there anything more? Always like that. Talib. So talib is a continuous characteristic. Subhanallah, you know, it's not like achiever of knowledge. Nobody have that name. No, you are talib, always talib. Until you die, you are what? Talib, talib, talib. Even if I'm teaching you, I'm a talib somewhere else. Talib, you know, I'm always asking. But when you go ask for something, once the seller give you the product, you are not talib anymore. Now you are purchasing it. Once you purchased it, you are the owner, right? But doesn't go like that with knowledge. You are always asking. You are gaining, you are owning, but you are always asking. Okay, so it does not stop, that characteristic. So he said, talab. Number two, tahsil. Tahsil means gathering now. So I am asking, seeking, and I am gaining. What tadqiq? Scrutiny. You know scrutiny? Tadqiq means, you know, not everything you have is okay. You know, you buy rice, but you don't just dump it in the cooker. Now they have that rice, right? Packaged and everything. But old times, I don't know if you remember that, when they buy the rice, they buy it like in what they call it. Yeah, like in a sack, they give you, 2 scoops, 3 scoops. That then the sisters will go home and they will make sure it's clean from any stones or anything like that. Then they wash it and then they do, right? Or the flour, they will bring the flour and they have the sifter. They will keep doing these things until they separate it in different categories and all of that. He's saying, as a student of knowledge, you need to be doing that. So there is talab, seeking. Now you got a package. You have to go with that package and study. You see, that's from the etiquettes of your academic life. Not everything comes, you believe it. Because if you read the argument of one scholar, you become convinced. And then you read the answer, you said, oh, he's more convincing. Then you read the reply of the first one and the second one, you said, what? Because you don't know, okay? But if you know that this is a debate, you are entering with a different perception. Okay, so you are reading in a different mentality here. Reading, waiting till the end, and you are learning how to evaluate. That is tatbiq. And that's a later step, by the way. In the beginning of talab, you are actually tahsil more. You are getting more. Quiet. You are getting more and more and more. And by the time you have enough, while you are still getting, your teacher or coach or sheikh will teach you which one is which. Right? So in the tafsir, will tell you, tafsir, there is different types. في تفسير بالمأثور, تفسير بالرأي. تفسير بالمأثور, right, has 80% good, but 20% you have to be careful. The Israelites and this and that. And those who use Israelites more is this imam, this imam, this imam. So when you are reading, you have to have that filter, right? And if you want to start with tafsir bil-ma'thur, start with tafsir al-Baghawi, for example. No Israelites in it, right? But Ibn Kathir comes as a second one, not as a first one. Some sheikh will tell you that. Because Ibn Kathir have some Israelites, but you have to read the whole thing and you have to read his comment on the narration. Because some people, they read, but they don't read the last line. So we have like 10 pages, and then at the end they said, and this is weak. So some people don't read that this is weak part. And they go say, Ibn Kathir said that. You understand? So as a student, my job is to tell you, if you read Ibn Kathir, read the whole thing. So if the ayah, he is giving tafsir, then you read that ayah until he finishes it. He finished the tafsir of it. You cannot just read the beginning. Because there will be something, he said, some people said such and such. And then I'll give you also extra filter. I tell you, you have to watch his language. There is a language for muhaddithin. If the muhaddithin, he says, it was narrated, means it's weak. If say it was narrated. But if say such and such narrated, means it is good. You understand? So when they say, Rawa al-Bukhari fi sahihihi. So means he is pointing you to where? And we already established that Bukhari is that, right? And then he said, Rawa Tirmidhiyu fi sunanihi. So that means it is in Tirmidhi. But Hafiz such and such said there is weakness in it. You see? He's telling you that this hadith has a degree, but some said it is weak. But if says ruwiya, ruwiya means it was narrated. Who narrated it? Means, he knows who narrated it, but he says ruwiya, means he's saving you the time, man. Says it is weak. You understand those filters? These keys, you will not learn alone by yourself. You read in a book, you see a hadith, it's a hadith for you. Yeah? It's a hadith for you. And he said, وَقَدْ قِيلَ, it was said, اطلبوا العلم ولو في الصين. Seek knowledge even if it's in China. So you think it is a hadith, but it's not hadith. He did not say it's a hadith, he said it was said. Why he is mentioning it then? Because the meaning is right. But it is not a hadith. You understand me? So the meaning is right. So this word is a good, encouraging word. Seek knowledge even is as far as China, right? But it is not a hadith. So you cannot say Rasulullah said. But that's a good word to follow. You understand? So these are tiny, some of them advanced, some of them not advanced, but those tools you will get while you are studying. Those tools you get while you are studying. So you have to be very careful. In tahsil, you are gaining, but tadqiq is a little bit more. So sometimes when you are studying with me tafsir, for example, I'll spend certain time with you just giving. Before I probe, or I try to, ask you questions and try to see how you understand. That comes later. Because now I want you to differ in your mind. Okay, now later, after that stage, whenever I'm speaking, actually your mind is doing few things. Okay? Few things. You are waiting for me to say, what is this? What is the dalil? What is the degree of the hadith? Because now I taught you the importance of that. All right? Until you are in your own, you are doing the same thing that your teacher was doing. So he's saying that talab, seeking, tahsil, gathering, tadqiq means scrutiny, means like picking and analyzing. So that's a later step. So talab, students who are like starting college, they are talab, they are seeking. Tahsil, you are getting all your life, from first grade all the way until you finish college, you are actually gathering. Tadqiq now when you do graduate studies. Graduate studies, they teach you how to research, right? So you research and you get like 100 articles. How to have the eye, which article to read. Okay, how to study things. Like for example, in college they teach us tadqiq. If you are searching an academic paper, you are not going to go to any .com, .net, .org. No value for that. You have to go to .edu, right? .edu, like a university published it. Peer reviewed. They are not just in the World Wide Web. This is, now you are a professional, so you are going to go to professionals. Okay, so some people will just go to public information. Some people want specific information. Specific information, you have to go to specialty stores, not just supermarket, not Walmart. You can find anything. I want a specific thing, so I go to a specialty store that they have 100 of what this store have 2 or 3 variety. This one have 100 varieties. Then when I go there, I know which one among the 100 also that I get. So I know, like if I want to build a computer, it's different from someone who's studying computer science building a computer. He knows exactly what to do. So you get impressed by what the computer looks like, how sleek it is, it's easy, light, that's what me and you think. But when somebody like who is into computer and they will use the computer for many things, do they think the same while they're picking their computer? They might end up with a big, bulky, ugly looking computer. Yeah? But they're so proud and happy with it, more than you happy with that sleek, nice computer. Yeah? Specialty. Everybody have a specialty. Like those who are driving monster trucks. You said, oh man, what is that? They know exactly what they're doing. Some of them even build it by hand. By their own hand, they build the whole truck from the beginning. That is their thing. You get it? So a student of knowledge is in that level, specialty level. So you started the inheritance of the Prophet ﷺ, getting from the inheritance بالقرآن الكريم والسنة النبوية. Why? Any student of knowledge, that's where they start. Quran and Sunnah. If you go here and there, you are going to come back to Quran and Sunnah. So better to start with Quran and Sunnah. Why? If you start with Quran, you don't have to worry with the chain, where it is, because the chain is established already. Yeah? So Quran came from Allah through Jibreel alayhi salam to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. How do we know that? Rasulullah gave it to the Sahaba and it is written in his lifetime. خلاص? Then how it came to the ones after them? They certified the ones after them and the records are there. And the ones after them, and the ones after them, and the ones after them until we have it. So now we are starting with a sure chain to Allah Azza wa Jal. Yani Quran, when we're reading the Quran, all this ummah is reading the Quran, memorizing the Quran, serving the Quran. It cannot be just a book somebody invented, It has this authenticity beyond any doubt. Nobody succeeded to bring doubt in the Quran. Nobody succeeded, and nobody will. Allah said that in the Quran. We are protecting the Quran. So it's not up to you and me, of all this world, and the whole world cannot actually stand in front of the Quran. There will be always people who are holding fast to it. That's it. So when you start with the Quran, you start with a sure foundation. Is that clear? So as a student of knowledge, where do you start? Quran. And as simple as learning tajweed, learn how to recite it. As simple as that. Start with that. How you recite the Quran. Even if you spend your life in it, that's another issue. Yeah? I'm not saying that, oh, you have to finish it because, yeah, there are lots of knowledge, but you're not going to gain everything. You're not going to gain everything, but at least start with a solid foundation. Keep that knee in your head. I'm starting with a solid foundation, not debatable issue. And nobody says, oh, no, this ayah is not in Al-Imran. It should belong to Surah Al-An'am. Nobody did that. This is not there in the Quran, right? So you start from what? Something established already. Surah Al-Fatiha is Surah Al-Fatiha. Khalas, that's it. Okay? You understand? Yeah, so when you start with something, no debate about it. So you start from there and then you keep going up the tree. So you have a solid foundation that you always hold to. If you find yourself up and you get scared from the differences, you still hold to the foundation. Okay, I'm going to continue reading the Quran. I'm not ready yet to go to the next level. But if you start in fiqh, for example, that's where all the opinions are, debates and issues. Right? You're not ready for that yet. Your brain is not ready for that yet. You get frustrated and give up fast. So always you start the knowledge from where? Quran. Now you know why the scholars always say Quran? Someone come to an imam to study the Sunnah. He told him, did you memorize the Quran? He told him, say, go memorize Quran and come back. So he go memorize the Quran and come back. He says, you study tafsir of it. He says, go study tafsir and come back. So all of this like 5-6 years and then he comes back, you know. Until he's ready, you tell him, now you can start writing the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But he has a point of saying that. He has a point. Not everybody will be like this, but he knew this person, if he studies the Quran, he will be a very good hadith student. Okay, so Quran, you never go wrong. Starting with the Quran, you never go wrong. Establish that fact, and inshallah you will be good. And when you are reading the tafsir of the Quran, you would learn aqidah and fiqh and hadith and everything basically. When you study the Quran and then tajweed and then tafsir and all of that, mashallah, mashallah. You know, many of ulama, they spend all their life debating and branch of knowledge and this said, and at the end they said, I wish I spent more time with the book of Allah. Just to do tadabbur, you know, to read the tafsir and think and reflect on it. That in itself is a great achievement. So Quran is mutawatir. Now, if we're studying the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you start with the things that as authentic as in the Quran, right? So you don't go to a hadith in a contemporary collection. Yani someone contemporary, he wrote a book that have hadith. We want to the established one. And established ones like Al-Bukhari or Muslim, Sunan, Ashab al-Sunan and all that, those are books that served a lot of service. You know, served a lot. So you go to these, but under the supervision of someone. Because you'll get lost again. Quran, I said, you never go bad. Just reciting it is a good thing. Okay? So you have to make sure that it is attributed to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So in the beginning, you're going to avoid, oh, this hadith is weak, this hadith is hasan, you want to avoid that. Only go to the sahih hadith. Sahih hadith. Because it is very, very important. Because someone goes to study the Sunnah without knowing the Quran, without having a Sheikh, without knowing the usul. Remember, we said we have to know the usul, the foundation of every subject first. And you have to read a mukhtasar book, you know, a concise book with the master of that knowledge before you jump into it. Some people jump into it and then they find a hadith and another hadith and then they contradict all, you know, then it becomes confusion. Then he says, whatever level you reach of knowledge, remember that there is a lot that you have not achieved yet. This will humble you. Actually, the more you learn, the more ignorant you will feel. You know, whenever you feel that you have more, that means you're still very, very beginning. That's why I mentioned in the beginning, al-ilmu thalathatu ashbar. Knowledge is like 3 hand spans. You know, when we make the measurement with the hand, shibr, we said 1 shibr, 2 shibr, 3 shibr, you know? This is one measurement, yani. Shibr, this used to be like 1 hand, like this, hand span. That's called what? Shibr, hand span, means hand all opened to the maximum. Not like this, right? Like this. And from your thumb to your pinky finger. That's 1 shibr, 2 shibr, right? And like 2 shibr is 1 dhira'. You know, that's 1 dhira'. And then you have the ba', like you have the, from the shoulder to the end. So that's how they used to measure. I don't know if all times, like in the Arab world, they used to put the fabric, right? And they say like 1 yard, 2 yards, right? From their mouth to the, you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, from the nose to the end, like this. Yeah, so they say 1 shibr, how many shibr equal to 1 arm, how many equal to that, you know, like this. So they're saying that ilm is 3 hand spans. That is like knowledge. If knowledge is like a tower, the tower is 3 sections. First section, when you are in the first section as a student, you feel what you know is more than what you don't know. Like what you know is a lot. Like you feel that I learned a lot, right? I learned a lot. It means I didn't know anything, but now I know a lot. You understand? So you are comparing what you know to what you knew before. You are a very beginner now. You are in the in the bottom layer. Okay, so as long as this is your feeling, every time you read something, say, wow, I know more now, you know? When you have that, means you are still in the first layer. And in that layer, the Sheikh is like basically giving you what you need, right? He's just sprinkling things on you, like that. So when you are in the second one, all of the second one, with different levels of course, but the second one, as long as you are in the second one, you feel that what you do not know is way more than what you know. Means there is a lot I need to learn. Okay, but you're still there. You're still there. You feel that I know a lot, but there is a lot more I don't know. So the first one, oh man, I know more than I used to. First one. Second one, oh, I know way more, but there is too much more to know. You are good, but still there, you know. But when you are in the third level, you know how ignorant you are. The more you go in it, the more ignorant you feel. Because you are comparing yourself to what is out there, not the other way around. Is that clear? So you're comparing everything you have, which people consider too much, to what is out there of knowledge, and you see that how ignorant you are. Is that clear? Yeah. ومهما بلغت في العلم فتذكر كم ترك الأول والآخر. So remember that. Remember the ayah of Allah Azza wa Jalla when He says, وَفَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ. Above every person with knowledge, there is a more knowledgeable person. Remember that. And remember that Allah is Al-Alim subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, they narrate that when Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam went to Al-Khadr based on the order of Allah to go and seek that knowledge from our servant, you know, and he went. They narrating, the stories, that when he gave Sayyidina Musa all the knowledge, right? And Sayyidina Musa is leaving, he told him, do you know all this knowledge I give you and the knowledge that Allah gave me and all of this? He told him, yes. He told him, you know what it's like? He told him, no. He told him, okay, look at the ocean. And there was a bird coming and the bird took some water and left. He told him, it is like that water. This is the knowledge of Allah. And that bird, how much did the bird took water? That's what it is, right? So now you are in the third level of knowledge. When you know that what I have is like what? So when you have a drop, you say, oh, mashallah, I have lots of water. Yani if you have like a bottle of water, you said, oh, I'm not going to be thirsty ever again. Right? So what do you think, like, what is this water compared to the water in the world? So that's what you feel when you are in that third level. But as long as you're feeling that you are somebody, you're still down there, all right? Still down there. So at least be aware, yani, that there is a level that there. And that level does not come by you wanting it. It will happen to you. And this is not something like you say, you know, I'm a beginner and I am already feeling what you're saying, Sheikh. You're wrong, actually. You're lying. It doesn't come like that. Because you don't have any knowledge to start with. You know, the whole idea is that you have too much knowledge. You have to have too much knowledge, but you're not feeling anything. That's the idea. Yeah. But if you don't have knowledge, you cannot say that. You get the logic here? It's like somebody comes on the you know, the fighting ring, and he says, you know, I can beat anybody over here. And they did not go to any fight before. So how you are the champion? You have to go through, you have to see the scars and everything. Now when somebody took the champion of the world and he come and he said, you know what, I don't know, I can be defeated by anyone, and they're humble because they have it. They humble after they have it. It's not humble before. It's not like a poor guy and he says, Alhamdulillah, you know, I am what you call, I have conviction and I have all, but you don't have money, you know, like if you don't have money, you cannot say that I am Zahid. You know, Zahid, you have to have something that you don't care about. But if you don't have something, you don't say, I don't care about money. You don't have money to say, I don't care about money, you know. I don't care if I have $1 million. Do you have $1 million? You don't even have $1. So let's see if you have $1 million and you don't care about them. Then we'll tell you you are a Zahid, you know. So if you have $1 million and you give them away, then yeah, okay, you are a guy who's talking. You get my point, right? So you cannot say that, you know, I feel I'm very ignorant. Actually, you are ignorant because you don't have any knowledge. Okay? So you cannot say that I feel I'm ignorant. Okay? But if alim there and he says I am ignorant, now you know that this person is out there. No. الرحلة للطلب. 26, you have to travel for knowledge. Travel here differs, especially for sisters. For sisters, travel is not something convenient for them. Without a mahram, without, you know, especially going, living where the sheikh is, you know, this does not go for women like it goes for men. But it's more for men that they travel to seek the knowledge. Their main goal of traveling is to seek the knowledge. But there is more restrictions for the sisters and they are more rewarded because of it. That's why, subhanAllah, actually this, in my opinion, one of the reasons that the sisters, they master many subjects with lesser resources than men. Because they know that the restrictions. Always the sisters, they become good in things that only men master. Like, you know, you have 100 men like studying hadith. But when a sister studies hadith, she becomes better. You know, 100 men, maybe one of them become a good scholar. But if one sister, and there is 100 men, that sister will be good for sure. Why? Because she knows that she have restrictions. You understand? So more restrictions on the women actually leads for them to excel more, because it's a challenge, right? It's a challenge. So rihla, some of the people before said, "Man lam yakun ruh lah, lan yakuna ruha lah." That's advanced Arabic, you know. Ruh lah, fu'la means the one who travels. Ruha lah means the one you travel to. Ruhala is the destination. Ruhla is the one who traveling. So this sheikh is a ruhala, means people travel to. He's worthy of that, to travel to. Ruhala, right? Ruhala. But ruhla, I am the ruhla. I am the man who travels for these sheikhs, right? So they are saying, if you are not traveling to sheikhs, you will not reach the level of people traveling for you. Okay, so to reach the level of teaching people, you have to suffer as a student first. That's why some businesses, they said you have to start from bottom up to understand. To be a store manager, you have to start with sweeping the floor, and so you have to understand everybody around you. So same thing for knowledge. Seeking knowledge, you have to, some people, they come with an attitude to the class. They think they are above even the Sheikh, they're above that one. I deserve this, give me what you have. And they did that before, and the Imams used to refuse to go to the Amirs and the Khalifas because of this issue, You have to come for the knowledge, because that humbles you down. But if knowledge is easy access all your life, then it's no barakah in it. So you have to know this, sisters, that some part of your knowledge has to be with effort. You have to struggle sometime. Maybe once a year, maybe once a month, I don't know, but there has to be something. Talk to your spouses, talk to your son, talk to somebody that has to take you or do something. You have to spend some effort. There has to be some effort in seeking the knowledge. That brings the barakah, because normally how we train our children to manage money, how you train them to become responsible. I'm asking you a question. Give them money and? Yeah, but when would they reach the level of responsibility? When they make effort to gain it, right? So as long as you are giving them, they will manage it, yes. But the minute they earn it, they know the value. Yes? Yeah, you can give them money and they manage it and they save and all of that, but they don't feel that they put effort in it. It will never be the same. Never, ever be the same. The $100 they earn, it is worthy for them than the $1,000 you give them. Trust me, I know. You can teach your son or your daughter whatever, but when they work hour after hour and they earn the money in their hand, you tell them, okay, let's order pizza. I said, before you give them $100 and next week, Baba, can I have some more money? Well, what happened to the $100 I gave you? Oh, I ordered candy and food and we went to do this and that. Right? But if they go and earn $50, tell them, okay, we need to have dinner. Oh, that dinner is like $60. Means I spend all my 50 and I still put 10 more. No. You're the dad, you spend. You're the dad, you spend. This is my money. I want to keep it for something. Same goes for knowledge. If knowledge is spoon-fed to you, it will go away. But knowledge that you suffer in gaining, you retain it. That's why somebody memorized the Quran and they go to the Sheikh and the Sheikh mad at them and they go back and review and all that. When they memorize the Quran, it is appreciated. It's much appreciated. But the kids, we bring them for Nazara. Nazara, right? They read and all that. Once they finish the Quran, then what happens? They're not tired. They did not suffer. That's why, they gotta memorize. I always tell, make your children memorize Juz Amma or Juz Mulk, as young as they are. Why? Because they will retain that. They suffered in it. They cannot just forget it. We memorize Surah Al-Fatiha because we keep repeating all the time. Maintenance. Until it becomes easy and smooth. Knowledge is the same thing. So, whoever did not travel to seek knowledge and look for the sheikhs. When we go to Hajj every year, we ask, who among the scholars of the world are making Hajj this year? Because this is I'm traveling, so two birds with the same stone, right? Go see the sheikh, how are you doing? Give me hadith, listen to them, just sit. That's important. It's important. And then you see the student of the sheikh who is making Hajj with them and, introduce each other, we know. It becomes a bridge of knowledge. So the Sheikh is saying that to be a person, to be a destination, you have to reach to destinations first. Until you establish a name and a quality and a qualification that people will come to you. And the later you start traveling, the later people will travel for you. And as I said, the difference between men and women, you have to understand that. Also, when you sit with the Sheikh, subhanAllah, they give you like those tips of books that might take you years to reach. You read a book and then a book and then a book, and maybe 10 years later, you find the book. And he says, wow, that's what the Sheikh told me 15 years ago. Okay? So one time I sat with a scholar Sheikh yani, contemporary Sheikh, one of my peers, but he's mashallah advanced in fiqh and all of that. That's his specialty. And then we were talking about the Quran and all of this. Then he's saying, you know what, I sometimes have issues with the Quran. He's telling me, I have issues with the Quran with the ayat mutashabiha, you know, there is verses that they're similar to each other. Right? So Allah Azza wa Jal sometimes say, He's giving me example, يعني. فأخذتهم الرجفة فأخذتهم الصيحة فأصبحوا في دارهم جاثمين أصبحوا في ديارهم جاثمين. And he gets confused all the time, right? He gets confused all the time. أخذتهم الرجفة دارهم وديارهم أخذتهم الصيحة دارهم وديارهم. I don't know which one is which, right? So I told him, Ya Sheikh, every time you see the word rajfa, it's going to be darihim. Every time you see the word sayha, it is diyarihim. He looked at me like this, you know. And another one, you know, وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ. How many times mentioned in the Quran? One time only. You see? The other one, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. But وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ إِحْسَانًا one time. وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ حُسْنًا. وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ حَمَلَتْهُ أُمُّهُ. Right? But the word إِحْسَانًا mentions Surah Al-Ahqaf only. You see? So these things only someone who studied the similarities in the Quran will be able to tell you those tips. But there is a science for that. There is a science, you know, there is a science for that. You know, when, you know, there is ayat, for example, mentioned in the Quran with the same pattern, except Surah Al-Imran. Whenever it is mentioned in Al-Imran, is a different pattern than every time it is mentioned. So I have to tell you that. Like, now, if I don't tell you that while you are memorizing Quran with me, you are still beginner memorizer, right? So I will tell you, okay, don't confuse yourself. Al-Imran is only the word, a surah, like this word is mentioned in it like that. Every time this word is mentioned in the Quran, it is like that. But in this surah, it's like that. Now, if I did not tell you this, how long would it take you until you find that book? You understand? Same thing my Sheikh did with me also. And that's why you have to study with someone. You understand? You know, like sometimes I give you that. But if you go to a Sheikh in Egypt, it's like an ocean of giving. Right, so now if you go to that one, yeah, you are tired, right? You suffer a lot, but you're actually making a shortcut for years. You get my idea now, right? For years. Why? Because that guy, that Sheikh, I don't want to say guy, I'm sorry, but that Sheikh, he read hundreds of books. So whenever I am reading with him, he's not just listening to Quran. He's going to give me those valuable pearls, right? Easy for me. And then I go search for them. I take my time now. When I become his age, I see other things too, right? But he gives me lots of juice. That's why you need to go to senior after senior after senior to the highest that you can get. But don't be satisfied with only Mamdouh teaching you tafsir here, right? So there will be a time that you have to go to upper and upper. Who's the highest authority in this? I want to listen from them. Because when you listen, they give you more and more and more. You get the idea here, the gist of it. So traveling is important. It's not only traveling for a famous sheikh. La. That person have more experience, read more, have more status. Just sitting and watching them has barakah already. Just sitting and listening to them, you will never leave without a new benefit. There is no way. There is no way. At least you can say, I saw the sheikh of such and such. At least. You know, Imam al-Bukhari, يعني, he said about he was praising his father, yani. Among the good things of his father, he said he met Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak and he shook hand with both hands. Bas. You know Abdullah ibn Mubarak, one of the Imam of Tabi'een. He said, my dad has the honor that he held the hand of Abdullah ibn Mubarak between his two hands. Can you imagine that? He's not saying narrate any hadith from him or anything like that. But he's proud that his father had the honor of meeting tabi'een. You get it? So even just seeing or being in the presence of a carrier of knowledge from that caliber, alhamdulillah. the barakah of knowledge. Now some people, they just want to be spoon-fed. Just put the CD and everything will be fine. No, everything will not be fine. Yeah, you have to have actually seek that knowledge, seek that knowledge. Then he warned from the people of bid'ah and all of that. Number 27, حفظ العلم كتابة. يعني the more you write with your hand, the more knowledge you retain. And I believe this is true until now. I don't know what next generation will feel like. Yeah, I know I use digital and everything, but it is never the same when you write note in your hand, with your own hand. That's why even some very successful business people and millionaires and billionaires, they still have their note and they write with their pen. Even they have all this army of technology people under them. They still want to write with their pen and all that. Subhanallah. Allah Azza wa Jalla says, اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. See, qalam. Qalam means writing. First thing Allah created is qalam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, first thing Allah created qalam. He told him, uktub, said, what do I write? He said, whatever happened, whatever will happen till yawm al-qiyamah. So qalam has an important value in our deen. Qalam, writing. Now some people typing, some people did, but original rule is writing. The idea is to record, to make effort, like make effort in acquiring the knowledge, make effort in recording it. All right, make effort in recording. We record it now with the camera. If this lecture is not listened to over and over, what is the value of recording it by camera? No value, right? So the whole value is that you do. And many branches of knowledge, by the way, has to be repeated. And you don't think that become a hafiz, you don't review. La wallah, if people memorize Quran and they will not make one ghalta in it if they recite the whole thing, but they still have a portion that they have to recite daily to maintain. Okay, so service of the knowledge. And many people read the book, you read the book over and over and over, and every time you're gonna get something new. You get something new. There are some books that cannot be read one time. It has to be read over and over and over and over. That's why muhaddithin used to make khatm for Sahih al-Bukhari like they make khatm for the Quran, you know. Oh yes, make khatm for that. Some of the linguists, they will make khatm for the book of Sibawayh, which is the book. It's called Al-Kitab. It's called the book that have the Arabic grammar. Yani. Every Arabic grammar book comes from that book of Sibawayh, who is like in the first 200 years of Islam. So he wrote that book, Sibawayh. Some of the people used to make khatm every 2 weeks for that book to know the Arabic grammar rules, يعني, to keep them fresh in their head. يعني كانوا يختمون الكتاب كل أسبوعين. في ناس كانوا يختمون البخاري. يعني whenever they have like lack in rain and things like that, they will make khatm of the Quran, they will make khatm of Sahih al-Bukhari also. The Sunnah, you know, of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, read it and they ask Allah, Ya Allah, by what you taught us, what we learned, what we recited, please send the rain, and the rain comes on them. You can do that. It's مشروع يعني. It's not bid'ah or anything like that. You make tawassul to Allah with ibadah. يعني you ask Allah, Ya Allah, by all the salah that I did for your sake and accepted it, Ya Allah, if you accept it from me, please, Ya Allah, save me from such and such. Ya Allah, by the recitation of the Quran, Ya Allah, by me help, Ya Allah, by that deed only you know which is such and such, please save me from that. There's a hadith, you know the hadith, 3 people in the cave, each one remember one deed. Remember that? You can do that actually. You can do that. Every one of us has one amal that you did it very sincere, right? You can ask Allah by that amal. Or you can start the amal, try to be very sincere with it, and then ask Allah by that. 2 rak'ah in the middle of the night, nobody sees you or anything like that, and after that say, Ya Allah, I tried my best to be sincere in this. Ya Allah, if you accepted it, please do such and such. Right? So it's okay to do that, inshallah. So write knowledge. It is very, very important. You're writing the knowledge. Also, what is the benefit of recording it and writing it? You protect the piece of knowledge from being forgotten. Sometimes we think, I'm going to forget this. I'm going to remember this. I'm going to remember this. And at the end of the lecture, you say, I wish the Sheikh said something important today. What was it? Yes? Okay, so now your only way, if you did not write, to listen to this video. What if this camera crashes now? I'm just giving you like, the normal thing. That's why, mashallah, Sister Siti put a backup over here. But always have your own notes. Don't trust anything else. I'm just giving you my personal advice. Don't trust other people to serve you, to record your knowledge. If you find a piece of information that is so cool that you like it, write it down. Don't depend on this. I'm just telling you, because maybe you will not have time to do this, but you will have time one day to see your notes, your own. Your own is always better. Again, you made effort, you wrote it, and it's very dear to you. It is important. SubhanAllah, when I go and look at my books, I see the notes when I take in high school and in college. Sometimes I laugh, sometimes I'm happy. Did I write this? Man, I was a good writer, like Sahih, and things sometimes you read, oh, did I write that? Subhanallah. Like, it's important. It is very important. And because of those, all this sharh, shuruh and all that from the notes of the Sheikh. Notes of the Sheikh. Otherwise, many texts we would not have understood without the notes that their students took. You following? So an Imam wrote some matan. Matan is like very complicated language to give like the big meaning with the short. And the shorter you are, the more complicated, intricate the sentence becomes. Right? The sentence becomes very intricate because it's giving denotation and reference and all that. And he wants a concise text that everybody can remember. So what they are doing, squeezing 100 pages in 10. Right? Then someone comes and squeezes the 10 in 2 pages. You memorize the 2 pages. How would you understand the 100? Someone had to explain to you. And that person will explain to you, he has to understand the 100. Right? Because when you read the 2 pages, what is he talking about? What does that mean? So someone was taking the notes. Now understand the importance of notes? Yeah. All this knowledge because of those notes. Also, he is saying that it is good for later when you become advanced. You can relate it to other pieces of notes. So you're taking notes in this class now, right? Let's say 5 years from now, inshallah, Allah give us life on His obedience, you studying an advanced course in hadith or tafsir or sunnah. Right? You're taking notes. You see the notes here, you said, oh, this one is relating to this one. And you can make your own writing based on that. You see how knowledge improves with you? Now. Also, one of the benefits of recording when we grow old and our memory does not help us. Our mind does not have the ability, we become busy or, our mind loses the ability of analyzing and retention, but you have something already recorded. You see writing, you look at it, you remember things. Now, when you're making research, you will find easy. And also, it is very nice when you cross-reference. You take notes, she takes notes, he takes notes, and then we sit together and make mudhakara. Mudhakara? Mufa'ala means yudhakir, but both of them do mudhakara, means two-way traffic. So you say, no, my notes this, my notes that. What do you understand? I understood this. Oh, that's what it is. And each one of you write. So develop a third way of knowing it, because now we are enriching each other's. Right? That's what peer review. You write a paper and then people start making comments. Then that paper is peer reviewed, means it's more. So that's why he's saying, make yourself a mudhakkara or kunnash. The word kunnash, kaf nun alif sheen. Kunnash means the collection of random benefits. Collection of random benefits. To write al-fawaid wal-faraid wal-abhas al-manthura fi ghayri madhanniha. That's a very important branch of books, by the way. The kunnash of scholars means he's writing random things. Those books, sometimes you're going to find fiqhi benefits not in the books of fiqh. Hadith benefits not in the books of hadith. Tafsir benefits, not in the books of tafsir. Sirah benefit, not in the books of sirah. Why? Because as I said, the Sheikh is explaining fiqh, but he is giving a linguistic benefit. Or he explaining language, but he give a fiqhi rule. So that's why, when there is those things flying everywhere, you're collecting it in one place. So I am studying fiqh, but I'm looking on more explanation. I'm reading these random things and I find the one fa'idah. Sheikh was explaining hadith, but he mentioned some fiqh rules. I cannot find that in the fiqh books.
You do.
So you read this called kunnash. And that's why it is very, very important when you're writing notes, not only relating to the subject matter. Sometimes you give a story or a hadith or something like that, you write it. One day you're going to need that. One day you're going to need that. And you are making a research about seerah, but you read all books of seerah and you cannot find. So that's why sometimes scholars will come and they will find in those books what they are looking at. So Imam Ibn al-Qayyim, for example, wrote a book called Bada'i' al-Fawaid. It's 4 volumes. Just what I just told you now. In everything, in every matter, every subject. 4-volume books called Bada'i' al-Fawaid. Fawaid means benefit. Bada'i' means the most or the nicest or the best of benefits. Best of benefits. Bada'i', something badi' means it's very beautiful, very nice. Badi', some innovative thing. So that book I think is translated, the abridged one. It's called Fawaid, but the book is Bada'i' al-Fawaid. Imam Ibn al-Jawzi wrote a book called Sayd al-Khatir, means reflections. Reflections. And all of this from what he got from hundreds of sheikhs. He's writing in a book. And many other scholars wrote things like that. So it is good for you as a student of knowledge to start it now. You have to have a notebook that all of these cool things you hear, you start doing what? Recording. You will not be a student of knowledge unless you do this, by the way. Record it. Even because it will be forgotten for sure. Trust me, you will forget. But you know what? At the end of the year, if you sit and see this, you will be amazed how much you write, and you say, Alhamdulillah that I recorded these things. Because maybe you will never hear it again in your life. Or you will not come across it. And maybe you will after 20 years, who knows? Maybe it will be repeated next week for you. You and your fortune, Allahu A'lam. Alright? Allahu A'lam. It's very important, by the way. These things are very, very important. Everything came to the head of Ibn al-Qayyim. He wrote it in the book Bada'i' al-Fawaid. So it is 4 juz, some prints that make them 2 volumes. And everything. He wrote in the medicine, he wrote in the social, he wrote in the different cultures, he wrote in the hadith, in the tafsir, in the fiqh, everything fawaid. Means everything he heard from his shuyukh and it was cool, he wrote it in that book. Right? So when you read that, you're benefiting from everything. You have, you have information about everything, basically. So this is very important. So you need to have yours. You need to have yours for yourself and for your children and generations to come. Okay? Then it will become better later that even if you don't do it, someone will come and divide it by subject. Like Sheikh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, he made the book called Fatawa. Fatawa is 30 plus volumes. Fatwas. Right? But that fatwas were spread everywhere. His students gathered it in Fatawa. So now people will take the Aqidah part out, make a book of Aqidah. Hadith part out, make the book of Hadith. Tafsir part out, and all coming from this. People ask him question and he answer. Ask him question and he answer. Ask him question and he answer. It's recorded, right? Then somebody come and do it by subject matter. Then somebody put it in the computer. Now you put a search word and it brings you in all the book. If he did not collect that, would you be able to do this? Yeah. So that's my point I'm trying to make here. So he mentioned many things. There is a book called Khabaya Zawaya, the hidden things in corners. There is a book called, the hidden material in corners. Khabaya Zawaya. Fi Zawiya, small corner, or a musalla, kida hidden, and there is a scholar in it. You don't know. He's hidden, So Khabaya Zawaya, there is a corner you don't see in this corner, you have to go there and look. So Imam Zarkashi said, I'm bringing you the things in the Zawaya. Hidden things, Khabaya Zawaya. And there are many other books in this regard. طيب. So you will find in the book of Ibn al-Qayyim this many things, and Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, mashallah, mention some of the beautiful things in Bada'i al-Fawaid. Bada'i al-Fawaid, for example, he make a huge research about the word madah and hamd. What is the difference between madah and hamd? And actually many mufassirin, they use the search of Ibn al-Qayyim to write in their tafsir. Both are praising, madh and hamd, both are praising. But how we are making hamd to Allah, we are not making madh to Allah. Example, yani. So he did like that, and he brought many things from Ibn Taymiyyah and all of that. He's telling you that how these benefits. So, for example, Sheikh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, who was the teacher of Ibn al-Qayyim. So Ibn al-Qayyim is, if you want the knowledge of Ibn Taymiyyah, Ibn al-Qayyim has it all. Has all of it. Yani. That's why they said, if Ibn Taymiyyah did not produce except Ibn al-Qayyim, it would have been enough. One student. But you know Ibn Kathir, the tafsir, he was also the student of Ibn Taymiyyah. Imam al-Zahabi in the hadith, he's a student of Ibn Taymiyyah. And all the students of Ibn Taymiyyah, shiny stars already. Yani. That tells you what kind of students come from the teacher, like this is the level. So anyways, he's one of the things he narrating, he said, Sheikh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, people who think that he is only a scholar in fiqh and hadith and all of that. But when he came to Egypt, he discussed with the highest scholar authority in linguistics. His name Abu Hayyan, Imam Abu Hayyan. And they debated with each other, right? So Ibn Taymiyyah said, this rule is such and such. Abu Hayyan told him no. So Ibn Taymiyyah told him, why? He said, because Sibawayh now is the reference I told you about a few minutes ago, right? Sibawayh says such and such in his book. So how you go difference from him? So Ibn Taymiyyah told him, and Sibawayh now is a Nabi in Nahu, yani? He's the prophet of linguistics. So you are using this, is he the prophet in linguistics? So he told him, Sibawayh make 80 mistakes in his book. So Ibn Taymiyyah telling the scholar of linguistics, Sibawayh make 80 mistakes in his book. Do you know them? So the other one got stuck now, right? He's using he told them, the book of Sibawayh is not Quran and Sibawayh is not a prophet, right? So this fa'idah, only a student of the Sheikh will narrate it, yani. The Sheikh will not write it himself. He will brag, yani, will brag about himself. What I'm trying to say is, sometimes you'll find those things in those books, like of fawaid, yani. So that's why Abu Hayyan did not talk to Ibn Taymiyyah for the rest of his life, yani. And he even made a poem about him, he did not like him after that, because he showed him like فوق كل ذي علم عليم. And don't claim that you are a scholar because you are whoever you are. Yeah. طيب, we go to the next one. الإمام الشعبي, for example, المحدث, he said إذا سمعت شيئا فاكتبه ولو في الحائط. يعني if you hear anything of benefit, write it, even you write it on the wall, to write it later on somewhere else. يعني I'm not saying go make graffitis, I'm not saying don't write in the walls of the masjid. They are exaggerating to tell you the importance of recording it. Ibn Taymiyyah, when he died in the jail, that they used to race so they can go to his cell, to sit in it for a few days or something like that, to write what he wrote in the wall. Because they took from him the books. So he started writing. They took from him the ink and the thing. So they give them coal, so they can use in the winter to heat the cell. And instead of doing that, he used the coal to write on the walls of the cell the knowledge, because he was afraid to be lost from his memory. Right? So that's why appreciation of knowledge is very, very, very important. And only Allah give barakah to those who appreciate the knowledge. So he said, if you get those fawaid here and there, like every year, you sit and try to collect them. And then make a time, try to organize them. right? Organize them. This is fiqh, this is aqidah, this is hadith. It's good, it's good. Always, going back to the knowledge, it increases, mashallah, your wealth of knowledge. So don't think that writing only or memorizing only or understanding only. You have to have the combination of all, inshallah Rabbil Alameen. حفظ الرعاية 28. حفظ الرعاية means the memorization of preservation يعني by act. رعاية means preserving something or taking care of something. Here he says بالعمل والاتباع يجب على طالب الحديث أن يخلص نيته في طلبه ويكون قصده وجه الله سبحانه وليحذر أن يجعله سبيلا إلى نيل الأعراض وطريقا إلى أخذ الأعواض فقد جاء الوعيد لمن ابتغى ذلك بعلمه. الإمام الخطيب البغدادي, one of the scholars, he said it is a must on the student of hadith. Now he's talking about a certain branch now, not seeker of knowledge in general, but of hadith in particular, that you have to have sincere intention in seeking. Of course, that's common among all the students. وَيَكُونَ قَصْدُهُ وَجْهَ اللَّهِ. Always seek Allah's pleasure, everybody. And be careful. Now that's specific to the student of hadith, and I'll tell you why. He said, be careful not to use the hadith to attack people's honors. And that's special for the students of hadith. Or a place or a means by which you are going to give people hadith so they can give you money. He said, because this is, we are warned from that. Because there is a hadith, whoever seek a knowledge that only you seek the face of Allah with it, only seeking it to get a dunya, you will never smell Jannah. Yeah, I can teach hadith and get paid a salary, but I'm not selling the hadith. I'm not selling the hadith. So the hadith is warning what? You are seeking something, you should seek Allah's pleasure only with it, but the only reason you are seeking it is to gain that. Then you are doomed. Okay? So you are giving, if I have the chance not to take any salary, I will do it without a salary. See, that's the good niyyah, I want money because I have need, but I have the knowledge, I'm willing to give, and this is not for that. Okay, this is just because of a need and for the time I'm doing, for the time, not for the knowledge. Knowledge, no price tag on it. Yani teaching somebody fiqh or hadith, or no price tag on it. That's why the niyyah is very important, because a person can say, I give you this lecture, it's $100, but if you want a specific group, it's $150, and becomes a business in their head. And that's a problem, it becomes an issue. But for the time is okay. Now, why the student of hadith do not use hadith to attack people's honor? Who can tell me why? Why this warning is specific for the students of hadith? Learning tafsir, it's not gonna do that, but only the hadith. Because hadith, you are always studying the narrators and their ahwal. The narrators are human beings, right? You say this person used to lie, or this person used to be good, the narrator, and their dignity and their honor and their credibility. Okay? So some of them you're going to weaken, some of them you're strong, because you're going to accept the hadith from them. He said, don't use the knowledge to put people's honor down. Right? So a person is da'if in the hadith, and that's it. We're not going to say because he's a bad person without him being a bad person. So don't use that, because now the scholars of hadith have one thing, that if it is used wrong, it becomes very destructive. What is it? Because they want to know the life of a person who narrates the hadith. Why? To accept or not. They want to see their integrity, their behavior, their shuyukh, they will, because they dig a lot, they will find defects in the person's character, or the person's aqidah, or the person's shuyukh, right? They will find that. So he is warning, Khatib al-Baghdadi said, when you are studying hadith, be careful, because it might lead you to attack the honor of the people. So only make your knowledge that you know about a person to only, your goal is to protect the sunnah of Rasulullah. So our goal is not to attack people, bring them down. So if I'm protecting the sunnah without bringing anybody down, alhamdulillah, enough. Is that clear? Yeah. So be careful for the niyyah. Allah. So he mentioned many things about the students of hadith. In particular, I want you to read that, inshallah. Last one for today, number 29, ta'ahudul mahfuzat. When you memorize something, that you have to keep reviewing it. Quran is the greatest example. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in the hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar, narrated in Bukhari and Muslim and Imam Malik and Muwatta and others, that the example of the memorizer of the Quran is like the owner of camels which is tied. Each camel has a rope, and that rope is tied to something, so the camel is not going anywhere. In ahada alayha, if he always makes sure that the camels are tied, the rope, holding the rope, seeing it's strong or not, and making sure, amsakaha, the camels will stay. But if he leaves it or leaves the knot loose, what's going to happen? And the more you are sitting there inside, the further the camels go. So that's your memorization of Quran or any knowledge. You have to have the review for everything. Ta'ahud. It's called ta'ahud. Ta'ahud. Ayn alif, ayn alif, ha and dal. Ta'ahud is the masdar يعني. Ta'ahada, without the alif in the middle, that means the person is doing ta'ahud, right? Ta'ahud, if you are doing it, means you are making ta'ahud. Ta'ahada means you always reviewing and saying it to someone or listening from someone. Very important. وخير العلوم ما ضبط أصله واستذكر فرعه وقاد إلى الله تعالى ودل على ما يرضاه. We finish with that statement, mashallah. He said the best of knowledge, branches of knowledge, is the one that you master its foundation. Asl, usul, the foundation of tafsir, usul al-tafsir. You master it, you memorize it, you know very well. The best of knowledge beneficial for you is the one that you know its foundation. That's one. وَاسْتُذْكِرَ فَرْعُهُ, يعني the branches you are always reviewing with your peers, with others, and applying and all that. And it leads you to Allah Azza wa Jal, to please Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. It guides you to what pleases Allah. So now, any knowledge to be beneficial, you have to have four things. We'll say them again. Any knowledge for you to be beneficial for you and others has to have four things. One, as a student, you master its foundation. You wrote that? Master the foundation of that knowledge. For it to be beneficial for you and others, you got to master its foundation. Tafsir, you have to know the usul of tafsir. Fiqh, you have to know the usul of fiqh. Arabic, you have to know the linguistics, right? So usul. Number two, istudhkira far'uh, yani you always review its branches. So it has asl and then it has branches, applications yani. You have to review it because you're not going to memorize all the branches. You're not going to memorize all of them, but you have to review and review and review all the time. That's number two. Number three, it leads you to Allah for sure. So you have to find that connection. Why I'm studying this? To lead me to Allah. How? How fiqh leads you to Allah? How tafsir leads you to Allah? How hadith leads you to Allah? How memorization leads you to Allah? You have to. Three. And always it leads you to the actions that pleases Him. Okay? You master the foundation, you study the branches and review it. It leads you, establish a connection between you and Allah, and that branch leads you to the actions that will get you closer to Allah. So belief and action. Belief and action. Connection between you and Allah and actions that will lead you to Allah. You get it? So you have four conditions that will make any branch of knowledge beneficial بإذن الله تعالى. جزاكم الله خيرا. And we stop here inshallah. I know the book took from us more than expected, but alhamdulillah that was not my intention Allah to lengthen it, but inshallah I hope this is beneficial for you, and inshallah we'll get there. But this section is the most important section in the whole book as far as practice. I told you the first section is the most important as far as foundation, because niyyah and all of that, right? But this section, fifth one, is the most important section in the book as far as practice, like as far as practical perspective, because this is who you are with what you do. Who you are? Student of knowledge. What you do? Seeking knowledge. So this section here is very long, and it's important. Inshallah, if you somehow try to take the points that in the slide, like all the topics, like number 1, number 2, number 3. Now we are like number 29, right? So try to memorize those, one at a time, like one every week. Try to understand one every week. So within 1 year, you memorize these etiquettes of knowledge. Don't memorize the explanation. No, I'm just saying the sub topics. Those main points. Try to memorize them. Al-ikhlasu lillahi ta'ala. So that's one. And now you keep thinking about it for a week. Everything you do, am I doing with ikhlas or not? Then like this, for example, حفظ الرعاية. I have to preserve it by action. So am I doing really that? And then you memorize that. So you will know that within a year you memorize this book in points, yeah. And that's very important, inshallah. That's very important because this is considered like the foundation of seeking knowledge. Right? We said that you have to master the asl of everything. So now we are seeking knowledge. This book is very important. It is like your manual of how you do things. My etiquettes with Allah is 1, 2, 3, 4. My etiquettes within myself, 1, 2, 3, 4. My etiquettes with my peers, 1, 2, 3, 4. And don't say that you cannot do it. You'll do it. It's easy. Okay? So inshallah we will continue this book, and inshallah Rabbil Alameen, may Allah Azza wa Jalla benefit us with more and give us what benefits us. Sallallahu wa sallim wa barak ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa alayhi wa sallam. If you have any question, please. Yes?
I have a question.
No, the back. Go ahead.
All the knowledge. I have a question about the tafsir. If you can please explain to me. So at the time of Prophet Muhammad, so as he was receiving the surahs and the ayahs, he was explaining them, right?
Right.
So can I ask, why do we have a variety of tafsir? Like if he already explained, can you please explain to me like why do we
Sahih. It's very simple. There is a long explanation, but I'll give you the short one. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam received the Quran is in Arabic, and the Sahaba around him are Arabs. So not every single word they did not understand. They understood way more than you and me. Do you agree? Do you agree? Like you agree that the Sahaba, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, Aisha, all of those understood Arabic more than you and me? Probably? You know more than them? Yeah. So for sure they know more than you, because they are the Arabs that the Quran came with. So Rasulullah ﷺ will explain to them what they don't know, right? Or what they ask him about. So you cannot say that Rasulullah ﷺ explained every single word of the Quran to them, because this is given, it is known already. They will only ask him about what they don't know or what they confused about, and he will explain. That's why the tafsir made at the time of Rasulullah ﷺ was very limited. It can be like a couple of volumes, right? But then the Sahaba, when they are explaining to the Tabi'een, they are not as proficient as them in Arabic. And now the Islam spread among non-Arabs as well. They don't know Arabic language. And when they learn the Arabic language, they are not as proficient as they are. So the Sahaba will tell them, that's what Rasulullah meant. And we did this. And Abu Bakr did this. Wa Umar did this. Based on the understanding that they got from Rasulullah. And that word means such and such. Now you added more. So now more tafsir will come. And now Abdullah ibn Mas'ud is in Iraq, while Abdullah ibn Abbas is in Mecca, while Zayd ibn Thabit is in Medina, while Amr ibn al-As is in Egypt. Right? And each one of them is giving what they know from Rasulullah ﷺ and all of that, and people writing behind them. So now you have 5-6 people writing from one person, and those come with more varieties. Okay? Then comes a generation after that they started collecting these opinions in the tafsir. That's why you see these varieties. These varieties does not mean there was things that not needed and they are adding it, or they are putting their opinion. No. So all of that is like more explanation to people. The further they get from the Prophet, the more explanation needed. The further they get from the Prophet, the more explanation needed. Like I'm speaking to you in English now. I'm speaking to you in English now. So I need more words to explain to you something. If I say to an Arab, I say one sentence. or I say one poetry line, they get it. You know, if he is an advanced student of knowledge, I don't have to do this. I'll just read the text of Sheikh Bakr Abu Zaid, right, to an advanced student of knowledge in one session. And that's it. Why? Because they know the words, the Arabic linguistics and all that. But the further you are from Arabic and its rules, the more words you need. English does not serve like Arabic. If I give khutbah in Arabic, I can say in 5 minutes what I need 2 hours in English to explain to you and say, oh, that refers to this and that refers to that. And that's why you find the books of tafsir with all these varieties. That's the short answer, by the way. Sister?
A little bit away from the...
Yeah, go ahead, no problem.
When you pray behind the imam,
Now.
and Salah, am I supposed to recite Surah Al-Fatiha? What am I supposed to do?
Yes. Well, there is a difference. The question is, if I'm praying behind an imam, am I supposed to recite Surah Al-Fatiha? طيب. Again, to be concise, away from the differences among the scholars, is that there is the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, من لم يقرأ لا صلاة لمن لم يقرأ بفاتحة الكتاب. There is no salah that counts for a person who does not read the Fatiha in every rak'ah. ومن لم يقرأ فاتحة فصلاته خداج, يعني his salah is incomplete. This is one hadith, right? But there is another hadith of Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم. He says قراءة المأموم قراءة الإمام قراءة المأموم. يعني the recitation of the imam counts as recitation of the one behind. Now the scholars differ to put these two hadiths together, right? So is this means a must or it is better? And the recitation of the imam is like replaces it, period? Or because, you know, if the qira'ah of the imam is a qira'ah of the ma'moom, means even salat al-dhuhr you don't recite anything after, right? And that's actually the opinion of Imam Abu Hanif, that if you are in jama'ah you don't have to recite Surah Al-Fatiha, period. Even in salat al-dhuhr you just stand like this, your salah is okay, because the recitation of the imam is the recitation of the ma'moom. Now, Imam Ahmad and Imam Shafi'i said no. You're going to read Surah Al-Fatiha no matter what. Imam read it, he did not read it, secret, loud, you're going to read Surah Al-Fatiha, okay? No matter what. Okay, so this is one opinion this side and one opinion this side. How you recite it? He said once the Imam say وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ and you say Ameen, you're going to read Surah Al-Fatiha even if he starts reciting other surah. Fatiha is exception. Yeah, you listen to the Imam, but after you read Fatiha, because it's a must. Alright? Imam Abu Hanifa said, no, Imam's recitation counts for yours, so don't worry. You recite it, okay. You don't recite it, you're okay. Now, Imam Malik comes in the middle. He said, you recite Surah Al-Fatiha if the Imam gives you a chance. If the Imam gives a chance. And it is actually better for the Imam to give a chance. Mustahab. يعني I say وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ and you say Ameen, and I should pause like at least like 10, 15, 20 seconds until you, right? And this becomes a habit. It's based on every Imam. يعني. So the idea is, in my opinion, يعني, that you read Surah Al-Fatiha after the Imam unless you are distracted or you cannot do it. So many people, they cannot. They cannot recite while somebody else is reciting, right? While the Imam is reciting, you cannot. You want to lose, especially if you know what the Imam is reciting. You want to focus on what he says. So if you have a chance, alhamdulillah, you know, Imam says, وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ Ameen, and he pauses, start Surah Al-Fatiha. If he starts reciting and you can continue it, do it. If you cannot continue, stop and listen. And your salah sahih, inshallah. That answers your question? Yeah. Sister.
I want to know about dua. You had mentioned earlier that we can make reference to our deeds. A lot of times, you know, people also make reference to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
أحسنت أنا.
Dua, you say
I get it.
his wasta.
I get it. Wasila.
Yes.
Wasila.
Is that something like
Yeah. Tawassul is a big, huge subject. MashaAllah, you're asking big questions today. Tawassul, or asking Allah wasila. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, ittaqu Allah wa bataghu ilayhi al-wasila. Surah Al-Ma'idah, Allah Azza wa Jalla says, O you who believe, have fear of Allah, taqwa, and seek wasila to reach Him. Wasila means a vehicle or something medium to reach through it to Allah Azza wa Jalla. Now, this word here caused a big issue among the scholars. So what, if we all, all the sects of Islam, regardless which side they are, they agree that we should have wasila to Allah. Okay? So that's the first establishment. You cannot reach Allah straight except through dua. Making dua, that's wasila. That's a way to reach Allah, is to do what? Dua. The way to gain Allah's pleasure is to give charity. There is something in the middle that you get to Allah through that. It's not only you get to Allah just because you want. You understand? So there is always something in the middle. We understand this? Everybody agrees. Where the difference is what to use. Now we will focus on the dua part. We'll focus on the dua part. Dua part is, what do I ask Allah with? Right? His names and attributes? Yeah. Allahumma ya Ra'uf, ya Ghafoor, ya Rahim. Ya Allah, you are the Ghaffar, forgive my sins. You see? You are using a wasila in the middle. Because you are, I want this. Ya Allah, you are Al-Kareem, give me rizq. Ya Allah, you are Al-Shafi, heal me. That's wasila, that's in the middle. You are using Allahumma inni as'aluka bi'annaka anta Allah. That's hadith. I'm asking you by you being my ilah. الواحد الأحد الصمد الذي لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. So we are using wasila, praising Allah as a wasila. Like Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim Malik Yawmiddin إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. That's wasila right here, because I worship you and I seek your help. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. You see that? So that's okay to seek wasila, that Ya Allah, I believe in you, because I believe in you, do this for me. Right? أسألك بأني أشهد أنك أنت الله. I am asking you, but my wasila is that I make shahada. You are the only one. Ya Allah, I ask you by my salah, by my siyam, by my hajj, by the umrah I just made, by the recitation of the Quran I just finished, by the charity I give, by my birrul walidain. You see? All the a'mal as-salihat you can use as wasila to reach Allah, and the hadith of the three people in the cave, very good proof. Right? Ya Allah, I did this amal for your sake only, so please give us passage. That's no problem. Okay, until here, no big deal. You can ask with Allah Himself, you can ask by Allah's attribute, you can ask by your belief in Allah, you can ask by your amal as-salih. Among the amal as-salih is the love of the Prophet. I ask you by my love to your Prophet. Where is the point of contention? I ask you by your Prophet. So putting the Prophet as, now, you do that while the Prophet is alive is one thing, and after the Prophet is dead is another thing. And then there is big, Prophet did not die, or Prophet is still alive, and create all these issues. So it is an issue of debate to ask Allah through a human being. Whether it is a prophet or a pious righteous person, they're alive or dead. And this is an issue of debate, by the way. Don't be deceived by someone telling you that it is kufr, period. Because some people would say that. So it's kufr to ask Allah, Ya Allah, I ask you by such and such person. You're putting someone in the middle. Someone will say it's kufr, shirk, right? And someone will say, no, it is halal, allowed, right? And someone is in the middle, says it depends what you mean here. Like if you ask me, Sheikh, make dua for me, right? So why you are asking that? Because your dua is not accepted and mine is? You see? Or because you think I'm better, I have more knowledge, maybe I'm more fearful of Allah. I'm not saying that I am, I'm just saying that's what you think. So it depends on your intention. I told you it's a huge subject, it's a big subject. So the idea is, use what there is no difference about. Use Allah's attributes, use your love to the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, use your love to the Sahaba al-Kiram, use your love to the Salihin. People, by Allah, we said Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, Assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillah as-salihin in the salah, right? Say, Ya Allah, by my love to, Ya Allah, by the bounties that you give over to all by the knowledge that, ask with these things. Why you have to go to the points of contention? If there is someone there, maybe they are pious, maybe they are not. We don't know. Allah is the one who knows. So don't put someone. For the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, just be careful. say by my love to your Prophet, by the makana of the Prophet, by the jah of the Prophet, there is issues, yani wasila. The big deal is istighatha. This is called what? Wasila. You are asking Allah, but you're putting someone in the middle, right? The problem is when you ask the one in the middle, Ya Rasulullah, do this. Now we're getting to the serious deal now. Still, with this one, there are issues also. You know, asking Ya Rasulullah, do this, or Ya Imam such and such, do this for me. Now, if the person thinks that this one will do something that only Allah can do, he's kafir, khalas. Right? Because you can ask a person for help. You can ask someone, please teach me how to do proper salah, so it can be accepted. You can ask me to do that, I'm alive. The problem is when I die, that's the issue, right? Or when I'm alive, you are asking me, please forgive my sins. I don't have that ability, you know. You forgive your sins is Allah Azza wa Jal. You understand? So it's a big issue in Aqidah. I think Aqidah course is very important, yeah, inshallah. But you know, to use wasila of good deeds, names of Allah and attributes, your good deeds of salah and siyam and zakah and hajj and shahada, the 5 pillars, your love to the Prophet and to the salihin and to the sahaba, your recitation of the Quran, you can use that as a wasila to give, yani, before the dua, Ya Allah, for the recitation of the Quran I just made. For Ya Allah, with I bring you the wasila of the Taraweeh I just prayed in Ramadan, right? Ya Allah, by the siyam and the qiyam I did in this month, please forgive my sins, or increase my rizq, or pay my debt. That's okay. So use the things that there is agreement on, and avoid the things that have contention about, which is putting a human being in the middle. Yeah. Putting a human being in the middle, keep it aside. You don't want to get into the thorny path. You know, there's lots of thorns in there. You know, what's your niyyah? Why you are doing it? Why? You don't want to get there, because you know at least your clothes will be ripped. You're going to be injured. So just avoid that. You get my idea here? You get my point? Yeah, there are scholars who said this and that, but we here as, you know, beginners, so please be careful. Because, you know, you can go straight this way. Yeah, this way is shorter, but it's a problem. You know, you're going to rip your skin, you're going to get injured. Yeah. So not everybody get out safe. Inshallah. Yeah. Well, Jazakumullah khair. May Allah reward you all. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر.